Hey, it's a casual day at the ranch, and I wasn't going to do anything today with regard to yelling at politicians and stupid liberals, but I got all fired up just here a few minutes ago. I was on the machine in the office, and so hey, I want to do it anyway today. What do you call a handcuffed politician? Trustworthy. Minnesota. A stupid thief file thing is going on there. A man came home and he said, hey, I've been robbed, and what happened is the bad guy came in and robbed him. He did, the good guy, but he also logged onto his computer and he left all of his Facebook information there. So of course the man, the homeowner, looked and said, hey, what's going on? He sent him a message, the bad guy, and said, you left some stuff here. Why don't you meet me at Starbucks and I'll return it to you? So the stupid thief said, I'll do that. And of course he was met not only by the homeowner but by the local sheriff also. I dedicate this next piece to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and other cities also who kind of had this happen to them. Here it goes. A wealthy investor appeared before the local governing body and said, if I promise to operate a sports team locally, will you be good socialists and build me a socialized stadium? All of the elected officials said, yes, sir, yes, sir. Then the wealthy investor said, hey, will you be good socialists and build me a socialized facility if I promise to operate a new dance establishment? A look of shock came over the faces of all of the elected officials, and they screamed, what do you think we are? The wealthy investor said, well, we've established that you are socialist prostitutes. Now we're just haggling over the details. That's not bad, hey. And Michelle Obama, that's kind of Mrs. Okami. She recently told supporters it's going to be a whole lot harder to finish our agenda. What we started, if we lose the midterm elections coming up here pretty darn soon, America can't afford another Okami or their liberal senators to finish implementing that liberal agenda. You know what? All they do is restrict freedom, stifle opportunity. They've given us explosive debt, and the red tape is just oppressive. I mean, there's more coming if they get the Senate, so we can only hope, of course, that they don't. Regulations, liberals, socialists, I mean, they're really wild in terms of their brain diseases, and they do have one. Let me tell you about Ottawa. Wasn't Ottawa, Quebec, Canada. Recently, a helicopter landed in the yard of a correctional facility, a jail, and two guys, or maybe it was three, jumped into the helicopter and they escaped from jail. A few days later, they were picked up and raised back to normal, but the socialist government of the day said, hey, we can't allow this, it can't happen anymore. So they passed a law, and it's now against the law to fly a helicopter into a correctional facility to help convicted criminals escape. Who would have thunk it? I tell you, I hear an airplane coming here now. Maybe they're coming to get me. It could be. You just hang around. I might disappear any second. Applications to carry handguns have skyrocketed in British Columbia, Canada, and of course in Alberta. We don't know how many of these applications were approved because the RCMP won't tell us, so says an official from the CSSA. We also don't know how many were for concealed carry permits for people facing criminal threats, and how many are for openly carrying handguns in wilderness areas to defend against wildlife. The RCMP's Access to Information Office refused to make that distinction. Well, I know the answer to all of that. No permits have been issued. They just say, get killed, by whether it be by a bad guy or an animal. We'll come and measure the body, because in Canada it's against the law to protect yourself. These are people that are running the country, the RCMP. It ain't the politicians, it's the Gestapo. It's bad. We need an RCMP to stand up. Whoa, lost my head. Politician to stand up and man up and say, we're going to fix this. We're going to kind of return some of the power to the people. Ottawa recently had proposed changes to existing firearm legislation, and here's a woman that said, hey, this could possibly mean owners of restricted or prohibited guns will be permitted to carry them at will. And this is a Chief Firearms Officer, a lady out of Prince Edward Island. Her name is Vivian Hayward, and she says this, goes on to say, I know very little about the changes. Nobody's consulted me, but hey, I know for sure, and she just admitted already she knows nothing, but I know for sure that puts us one step away from the U.S. style of having guns on the hips of every person. I don't know. I'm in the States a lot. I haven't actually seen that. All you elected politicians in Ottawa, there's one thing you can do for me and for all of the citizenry. That would be to make a motion, stand up and make a motion that there's a term limit. Those planes are still coming to get me. A term limit to be a prime minister. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with Justin Trudeau and the Liberals for probably 30 years because he's a young guy. Because I tell you, the Conservatives might as well mail letters to everybody and say, please don't vote for me because things aren't going well. Wow, politically right is right and left is wrong. I mean, get with the program, all of you politicians, not only in Canada, but everywhere. Y'all come back tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right.